All right, folks, how you doing? Welcome back to Tribe of Judah. In this presentation, we're focusing on the Canmores. And this is from the book When Scotland Was Jewish. So, disclaimer, under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976, allowance is made for fair use. We begin with the Canmore dynasty. From William's account, we now turn to a shorter work by Oram, Richard Oram, focused on the Scottish ruling family of primary importance to our thesis. The Canmore dynasty began in 1058 with the ascension of Malcolm Canmore to the Scots throne and lasted until the end of Alexander III's reign in 1286. King Alexander I. Examining the genealogy provides some indication of just how European and Mediterranean the Scottish royal family became. Malcolm and Margaret's son Alexander I not only carried a Greek name previously unused, but he also married Sibylla, the illegitimate daughter of England's King Henry I. Matilda de Saint-Lys, Alexander's brother, David I, who ruled from 1124 to 1153, married a French noblewoman, Matilda de Saint-Lys, or Senlis, a town in Normandy, granddaughter of William the Conqueror. This king's given name, David, was also previously unknown among the Scots lairds. In fact, he was only the second King David in world history, the first being King David of Jerusalem. The Jewish King David. This did not come about randomly, but resulted from the Scots royal family's belief that they did, in fact, descend from the Jewish King David. Well, if you're following the works of Beaumont, that is a distinct possibility. We will argue that the family was of Jewish patrilineal ancestry and faith, but of Western Sephardic rather than Semitic and Middle Eastern genetic descent. The latter Canmores. So, travelling farther down the Canmore genealogy, we find additional Flemish, Dutch, and French wives entering the royal household, along with Hebrew and Mediterranean names such as Ada, Isabel, and Yolande, joining with the continued use of Alexander and David. Oram comments, David projected an image of the king as lawgiver. Law codes attributed by tradition to David form the basis of medieval Scots law and the foundations of a system of sheriffdoms for the local administration of law were laid down by the king. But David was no remote figure. Eldred wrote of the king sitting at the door of his hall to receive petitions from the humblest of folk. Well, that's a very good king then. Presented as Solomon, not a surprise to me. To an extent, it was a cultivated image, to be seen most clearly in the portrayal of David in the initial letter of his grandson's great charter to Kelso Abbey. There sits David, a long-haired and bearded, presented as Solomon, alongside the youthful and beardless Malcolm IV, well, presumably because he was still quite young. That's a very telling image if you know what you're looking at symbolically. A colony of Cistercians. So, although he continued to patronize the established religious orders, such as the Benedictines and Tyronnesians, and founded one further Augustinian monastery at Cambuskeneth, most of his favor was targeted towards the austere Cistercian monks. In 1136, he brought a colony of Cistercians from, I have no idea how you say this, sorry, Revol, I don't know, anyway, you can see it there, in Yorkshire to Melrose in Tweeddale. The coinage of King Alexander III. Hang on, I'll move myself out of the way for this one. As will be discussed subsequently, the Cistercian order in many ways appears to be modelled on Judaic religious precepts. The entry of Jewish religious imagery into Scotland's culture is further indicated by the six-pointed Star of David marking the coinage of King Alexander III, 1249 to 1286. Well, this is where, as I've said previously, I'm certain, and I don't know, maybe one or two videos on the main channel on Super Omnia, you really have to put it all together. You know, to me, The Great Deception And this book, why am I blanking on the name? It's probably because, the folk I live with are on the phone at the moment, so it's quite distracting. When Scotland was Jewish. So The Great Deception and When Scotland Was Jewish, they're like Jachin and Boaz. They're the twin pillars, really, that decisively prove the Judeo-Scottish connection. And when you read Britain, the Key to World History and The Great Deception, it's really no surprise that you've got a Greek and a Jewish name in the same family. Two brothers, one's got a Greek name and one's got a Jewish name. Well, read The Great Deception. In fact, just look at the front cover of The Great Deception, where you've got the revised geography of Britain. It's all right there. And Hirschman and Yates are kind of almost accidentally proving Beaumont's point that, ancient Jerusalem and Judea was in Britain. It was actually in Scotland. The original Jerusalem was Edinburgh. So when you've got all this emphasis on all this Jewish stuff, it's not because they're from the Mediterranean. I mean, they did go there for centuries and then return. That did happen, the diaspora of the Jews, not the one that people think of, but, the one going way back was they had to leave the British Isles and go to the Mediterranean, and then they came back later on when it was safe because of this big catastrophe, this global cataclysm. The British Isles became deserted for centuries. And these Sephardic Jews, I would say that they are, if not Semitic, closer to being Semitic than Ashkenazi Jews. Now, that's debatable. And David Icke, in Tales from the Time Loop, strongly argues, really, that the only difference between Sephardic Jews and Arabs is faith. They're actually, by DNA, the same. Or very, very similar, at least. So how much of a difference is there between Mizrahi Jews and Sephardi Jews? I'm not sure, because I haven't really studied it. The only source I've looked into about this, really, is When Scotland Was Jewish and what David Icke writes in Tales from the Time Loop. So I don't know how close they are in terms of Semitic ancestry or not, but I think Hirschman and Yates are being just a little bit overly dismissive there when they're saying that Sephardic Jews are not Semitic. I think they actually are Semitic, or are closer to being Semitic than Ashkenazi Jews. But I don't know. I haven't really looked into it with any depth, to be honest. I'm not an expert on it. But if they're saying that they're descended from, King David, it's for a reason. They're putting the lion under heraldry for a reason. But then again, Hirschman and Yates don't have the connection of Beaumont to fall back on. They give no indication that they know anything about the works of Collins Beaumont. So when Beaumont's arguing that actually, the original Hebrews were from the Hebrew Islands, or the Hebrides Islands, and they went to the Mediterranean and then they circled back because that was their homeland. Why would they have returned? After centuries of intermingling with the Arabs and the Mediterranean races. Hence why the descendants of Scots today have dark hair and brown eyes. That's the reason why, because there's a great deal of Middle Eastern and Mediterranean ancestry in the Scots. Because they left here, they left their homeland and they went into the Mediterranean, and later on they returned. That's the reason why. But yeah, Hirschman and Yates, they form a very important part of the picture, but they don't have the entire picture. Hence why someone like me has to come along and put it all together, put together what's written in The Great Deception and The Key to World History and what's written in When Scotland Was Jewish, and you find that they're actually compatible. You bring it all together and you weave this great tapestry, and then you start seeing the big picture. So why was King David I named after the ancient King David? Because it was the ancient King David who, took over the city from the Jebusites and, founded Jerusalem. So one King David is named after the other King David because that was his ancestor. When you put it all together, when you marry up When Scotland Was Jewish with Britain, the Key to World History, put it together, and suddenly, bam, lights come on. Oh, that's why. But anyway, thanks for watching.